Decades ago, atheists cried and carried on and went to courts until they finally got prayer removed from the public schools. And they do nothing but cry and complain and bitch and moan until they get their way. They want God removed completely from everything. Atheists even went so far as to try to get In God We Trust removed off the money. Yet they have the colossal gall to turn around and say that Christians shove their religion down people's throats. They go door knocking. They say, well, we don't go to your door and try to convince you to become an atheist. I'd rather they do come to my door and at least give me a choice instead of forcing this bullshit down my kids' throats in school that I gotta pay for it in my damn taxes. Anyways, to get to the point of this video, there is something going on the majority of the public are not even aware of. Not even most Christians. There is still religion being taught in our schools and on TV and in books from science itself. The hidden religion. You see, they got Christianity, the Bible, prayer, and all that removed from the schools, but there is still religion being taught in the schools. And it's being taught secretly under the guise of science. You see, if a man with a lab coat and a name badge and a degree that says he knows something, says something, and says that this is science, he can get away with it. You see, the reason they do not call a universe from nothing and things creating themselves and evolution with magical animals that magically transform until they reach a human being, which is bullshit. The reason why they don't call this a religion, admit the truth, because it is a religion. They don't do this because of separation of church and state. It would not be allowed in schools then. So they secretly say, oh, well, this is science. This is science. And because they say it's science, they can get away with anything. They can teach anything. They can teach pink elephants fly over the moon at night and say, oh, but it's science, and get away with teaching it. And people will buy into the bullshit because a man with a lab coat and a name badge said so and labeled it science. Science is teaching religion under the guise of science, and people are not even aware of it, too dumb to see it, especially the atheists and evolutionists themselves. They will never admit that it is a religion, and they will argue with their very life that it is not. I don't care about their opinions, their straw man and their apologetics and all the bull crap they want to send me below in the comments. I don't care. I don't care what they say in the public nor on YouTube here. It is a religion. And evolution is definitely a religion. And it's being taught as science because, again, if they stated it was a religion, it would be removed from the schools. The scientists know this. So they can get away with teaching their religious philosophy and their bullshit by simply labeling it science. Oh, well, a man with a name badge said it's science, so it must be true. All right. Bullshit. So if a man with a lab coat and a name badge said the moon was cheese and called it science, atheists would probably believe it. Because they believe any damn thing these people say. Oh, but a scientist said so. Who gives a shit? Ask me if I care what he says. If a scientist told me the sun was up, I'd have to look out the window to make sure. That's how reliable they are. I don't trust them as far as I can throw them. Evolution is rooted in the occult. And it goes back all the way even before Darwinism. It is a New Age cult philosophy that man has evolved from the very beginning until eventually man, and he's continuing to evolve, and someday he will evolve into something glorious, a god. And some New Age philosophy teaches other things. Now I know atheists don't believe they're going to evolve into a god. So the New Agers, another occult philosophy, take this steps further. But that's irrelevant. It is rooted in occultism. And Darwin posed this theory before he had any knowledge of DNA or what goes on inside of a living cell or anything. Bronze Age scientist comes up with a wild theory based on occultism, and people buy into it. Why was it allowed to even continue? When Darwin himself said, Darwin speaking, said that if the cell was found out to be anything more than just a blob, if it was complex and on and on and on, he said his own theory would be destroyed. He was basing it on the theory that these things were not complex, that the cell was nothing special. He didn't have any knowledge of DNA either, which blows the mind with computer-like coded information that can be decoded into a very complex set of instructions, an actual blueprint for the assembly of a conscious, intelligent human being. There is no blueprint on Earth as complex as what is inside DNA. No supercomputer is as complex as the DNA code and what it does. And I would bet money that if Darwin was here today and he knew about the DNA and the living cell, all these things that we know now, he would discard his theory and walk away from it. But you see, atheists didn't let it go after Darwin. Why? Because they thought, this could be the perfect way of getting God out of the picture. We could just say everything evolved from nothing and eventually worked its way up to man. A rock, given enough time, becomes conscious and comes alive. Yeah, they think it's silly if you say God created man from the dust. They believe the same thing. It's the same damn thing. What's dust? Dead matter? Where do evolutionists think life originally came from? All scientists where life originally came from. Dead matter. Scientists themselves, and tons of articles I've read online. The scientists themselves, not me, they said they have no idea how dead matter could have come alive. That's something that they say we just don't know yet. But obviously it happened because here we are, and we're still trying to figure it out. Maybe someday we'll understand. They know, they've made the statements. Dead matter became living, intelligent consciousness. You have to laugh when you say God created man from the dust, when they believe the same damn thing. Actually worse, because they don't have intelligence creating intelligence. Consciousness giving rise to consciousness, which makes a hell of a lot more common sense. What do we see today? Consciousness giving rise to consciousness. Intelligence giving rise to intelligence. As a matter of fact, we don't see any different. And what is observation? Science. True science is observation. Not guesswork and coming up with theories and saying, well, this is the best theory we can come up with maybe someday we'll be able to prove it. We just don't know, but maybe someday we'll have the answers as to how it happened, and then teach it as a fact. You don't teach something as a fact until you have all all the answers. And it is indisputable, 100% rock solid, observable, repeatable, predictable, absolute, no way around it, fact. That's what a fact is. Let me tell you what a fact is, atheists. Gravity, that's a fact. We can observe it with our eyeballs. You jump up, you come down. You jump up again, you come down. You jump up again, you come down. You throw up a ball, it comes down. You throw it up again, it comes down. Need I say more? Observable. You can see it with your own eyeballs. You can observe this. You can repeat this. And because the results are the same every damn time, it is predictable, observable, repeatable, predictable. That evolutionist is science. That atheist is what you call science. That's real science. Not saying, well, I want to believe that life just created itself because I don't like the God idea. I just don't like that. So I want to believe that it just created itself. Now, we don't know how this could have happened. We guess this, we theorize that, we guess this, we theorize this over here. We just don't know. Maybe someday we'll know. I don't know. With enough investigation, we still have to search this missing link and that missing link and see how this could have happened or that how this could have happened over here. Well, we just don't know. We just don't know. But we're here, so it obviously must have happened because that's what we choose to believe because we just don't like the God thing over here. We don't like to hear God created. Nope, we can't take that. Options not even on the table. Nope, don't want to hear that. So we have to believe that this is how it happened over here. Dead matter came alive. Now again, we don't know. We speculate, but we don't know. We theorize, but we don't know. Maybe someday we'll know. We just have to do more research. Have to, find out some more facts. Maybe someday we'll know, because we don't know now. That doesn't mean that we never will know, you stupid Christians. This is a fact. They call it a fact, yet they don't know the origin of life. They call it a fact, and yet they don't know thousands of different things you can throw at them. Well, we just don't know. Ask them something else. Well, we just don't know. Because we don't know now doesn't mean the answer isn't out there. Maybe someday we will. Yeah, that don't sound like a fact to me. So life came from dead matter by itself, from no one, by no one, for no one, for no damn reason at all. You're just going to believe it because it sounds better than God, because you don't want to be accountable to a creator. And maybe someday you'll be able to prove it, who knows, and then scream it's a fact. And then teach it to kids in school. This is not a fact, it's a damn religion. They have a belief system. This is how this happened, and that happened, all the way up to finally we're man. It's an entire theology. And it's a worldview. And it is based on nothing but blind faith. It is a religion. When you believe something with blind faith that you cannot prove just because you don't like to hear that God created, or you don't want to personally accept that He created, that's a religion. You're believing something based on blind faith. It is a religion being taught in our schools under the guise of science. Because once again, like I said earlier, if they admitted it was a religion, it would not be allowed in the schools because of separation of church and state. It would not be allowed. So the scientists teach their religion by simply calling it science and then denying it's a religion every time somebody brings it up. Oh, it's not a religion. It's a proven fact. It's a proven fact. It's a fact. It's science. It's science. It's not a religion. It's science. Oh, bullshit. It is not science. And it is not a damn fact. Wake up, atheists. And all you evolutionists out there, it is nowhere near a damn fact. A fact is something you can see happening on a continual basis. You can observe it. It's repeatable. And it's predictable. It is rock solid, irrefutable, observable fact. Evolution is not. All you guys have is a few damn bones and wild-ass theories. Well, we look at these bones, I think it says this to me and that to me, and I think this could be this, that, and the other. Oh, bullshit. That's not a fact. Staring at a few bones and then you come up with some wild picture out of your damned imagination of what these bones used to be, and then you put this big picture that your imagination cooked up inside of a museum so gullible people can look at it. Oh, that's what this thing was. Millions and millions and millions and billions and trillions and trillions and billions and gazillions of years ago. Bullshit. They don't have nothing but old dusty ass bones and freaking fossils. A fossil don't show you nothing. It doesn't show you macroevolution, you dumbasses. The only thing a fossil shows is stasis. It's froze in position where it died. That's all a fossil tells you is something died. It shows you stasis, something in a frozen dead position. It doesn't show you anything. Are you actually seeing it moving and transforming into something else? No. All you have is something dead. All you have is dead, dusty bones. They don't tell you shit. If evolution were a fact, we would be seeing in-between species and species almost there at man, but not quite. Species just beginning to become man. We would be seeing all kinds of monstrosities in nature. You know, an ape with the human foot, or a damn a bird with a cat face or something. We'd be seeing all kinds of monstrous things living all around in nature. In the in-between stages, and 3/4 of the way there, and 1/4 of the way there, and almost there, but not quite yet. We'd be seeing all this kind of shit. Instead, what do we see? Absolute distinction between species. A cat is a cat, a dog is a dog, a snake is a snake, a lizard is a lizard, a bird is a bird, and a human is a damn human. A gorilla is a gorilla, a chimp is a chimp, a monkey is a monkey, a rat is a rat, a fish is a fish, a whale is a whale, a cow is a cow, a horse is a horse. Absolute distinctions. We don't see, we don't see no in-between stages. We don't see a horse with a damn human foot sticking out of it. We don't see anything. Evolution is a fairy tale. It is a fantasy. It is stupid. Matter of fact, it's beyond what Kent Coven says. He calls evolution stupid. But it's worse than that. It's retarded. It's a sign of a severe mental disorder. When you believe bedtime story fantasies like this. This is a religion, folks, rooted in occultism. It is a religion as much as anything is a religion. It is an occult religion. It is the devil's way of replacing God with man. Oh, man did it on his own. Demons are the author of this bull crap. It's stupid. This transformed into that, and that transformed into this, and this transformed into the other. It goes against DNA, or the laws of DNA and how DNA is designed to work. DNA cannot break the boundary of species. The only thing DNA is capable of is producing variation within that specific kind. Human beings have all kinds of different DNA code, all mixed, which creates various humans. Some people get their mother's traits. Some people get their mother's hair. Some people are fat like their father, fat like their uncle, whatever. Some people are short, some are tall. Some have blue eyes, some have brown eyes. Some have pink eyes with yellow polka dots. Just kidding. But you get the picture. Various humans. We all look different, yet we're all the same. We each have different faces. We don't all look like clones. We have different faces, so we all look different, yet we're all humans. We all have different color eyes, hair, and on ad infinitum ad bloody nauseum. Variation abounds, but we're all humans. The DNA cannot cross the species barrier. Why? Because the information in DNA will only produce another of its own kind. The information in a human being are the instructions for a human being. So while you'll get variations of humans, different colored skin and everything else I just went over, you're only going to get a human. It'll look different from everybody else because we all have different faces, different features, but it'll be a human. It won't be something entirely different than a human being, because the information in humans is the instructions, coded instructions, the blueprint for creating a human being. It cannot go past the boundaries of this. And the boundary is changing species entirely. You'll get many different variations of birds, but still birds. You'll never get a cow from a bird, a cat from a bird, a dog from a bird, a snake from a bird, or an entirely different species that you can't even call a bird anymore, that doesn't even resemble a bird. Entirely different. Totally not even a bird anymore. Impossible. It's never been seen by man once. This is a religion, folks. This is religious dogma you're being taught in schools. Your kids are being taught in schools, and they're being force-fed this bullshit because they call it science so they can get away with teaching this religion. Now, I've heard all the arguments on their favorite website, Talk Origin. Oh my God, I can't count the number of times I've been given a link on YouTube, Facebook, and other accounts I have, and talking to these people offline, in public. How many times I've been giving links to Talk Origins and other sites, Talk Origins being the number one popular, I think. I'm always giving their link. And I have read all the shit from A to Z for years. I'm not new at this. The Talk Origin has stated is proof of evolution. Atheists, I have read everything Talk Origins has to say on the subject matter, and I'm still reading it today. As a matter of fact, I was just on their website last night reading more stuff. I search the other side of the argument more than I do the Christian side, because I want to know what the other side's thinking. I want to know what they might come back at me with, so I can be prepared. I want to know what the latest bullshit is. And trust me, atheists, after reading every single thing they've got to offer as so-called evidence, right, on Talk Origins, and doing it for years on end, everything they have to offer on evolution, I have to tell you honestly, it's 100% bullshit. They have not offered a damn thing that proves evolution. Oh, their website articles say proof of evolution that goes on down the line, and they go on and on and on and on. Endless, tireless babble. Giving all this shit from A to Z. Oh my God, they get into it deep, don't they? Giving this and that. I mean, it goes on forever. These guys never end. And out of all of it, atheists, I've never seen one single actual proof of evolution. You know what they're showing? And everything I've ever read from them up to the current time in 2019, everything. You know what they're showing? It is all microevolution, every damn bit of it. I'll give you an example. Talk Origins once was saying something that they called solid, rock solid proof of fact. That evolution is a fact. They were talking about all these lizards on some island. They used to do this and this, and their tails looked like this, and their noses looked like that. I can't remember exactly what it was with their noses and tails or whatever it was. I can't remember. I read too much crap from them and everybody else. But there was something about the lizards. I know something was the tail and something was something else. And the tail changed and the snout, nose, whatever the hell is now different, and their gills are now this or whatever it was. They were talking about these changes that these lizards went through on this island. And after all the babbling, after all the bullshit was said and done, and they finally closed their eternal mouth that never shuts up, you know what the result was at the very end of it all? They were still lizards! Oh, woohoo! Oh, yeah. Oh, man, I love this evidence. So strong. Man, that proved it is an absolute fact. Ladies and gentlemen, lizards are still lizards. They went through micro changes, micro evolution, which is science. Macro is not, it's bullshit. It's religion. Micro is real science. There were many, many scientific reasons why these lizards went through these small changes. It is very normal. It is very natural. Many things had to do with being the cause of it. Can't go into it now. This would be hours of a recording. And I'm sure you don't want to hear my mouth for hours on end. But anyways, there was many reasons why this happened. It's very normal. It's very scientific. They went through several micro changes, but they're still damned lizards. They did not transform with magic into something that they can't even call a lizard anymore. Something 100% doing a 360, a completely different living thing altogether. No. They were simply microevolution, various changes they went through. But they're still classified as fucking lizards. And they did the same thing with fruit flies they were experimenting with. After all is said and done and the babbling is finally ended and the smoke cleared, there were still flies. They tried to force mutation on these fruit flies to prove evolution was true, and after it was all said and done, they had nothing but mutated fruit flies. Some with extra pair of wings that could no longer fly properly anymore. So the mutation only proved one thing. The species stayed the same and it could no longer function properly. Mutation does not improve. Mutation destroys. Mutation harms. And if bad enough, mutation kills. You'll never get anything from mutation other than a screwed up species that will remain the same species but screwed up. And if the mutation is bad enough, your ultimate outcome will be death. All you will ever get from mutations bad enough is death, not a leap forward. Unless you call death a leap forward. Woo! Oh man, the damn thing died. Woo! That proves evolution is true! It must be true, colleagues! Look! The damn thing died! Bullshit! Woo! This is fun! Woo! Hello, wake up, people! That's all they were able to accomplish. Trying to force mutation. Force it. If they cannot come up with one single thing when they're forcing the issue, How in the hell are you going to get eventually man when no intelligence is involved and it's just doing its own thing? Come on, folks, this is religious dogma. This is retarded religious occultic nonsense. Come on, people, you cannot be this gullible. This is not science at all. And also, Talk Origins one time mentioned these birds that their beaks became different, or their feathers did this, that, and the other. Small microevolution changes, again, is what they were showing. And they said, now the bird is this, and now this bird over here is that. See, that shows it's a fact, it's a fact. Stop. They're still birds. So birds are still birds, lizards are still lizards, and when forcing mutations to prove that macroevolution is true, the flies were still flies. And, well, they could no longer fly. So it was actually a step backwards. Mutations don't increase anything for the good. Mutations are not a leap forward. Mutation is a leap backwards. All it is a damn copying error. Within, get this, within the existing information. It's like taking the code for a game Call of Duty. Take a section of the code and start copying it over and over and over again, or scramble it a bit. Are you going to get Call of Duty Part 2 a better game? Woo! Look, Ma, I scrambled the code to Call of Duty. Now I got the fucking sequel. Woo! Macroevolution is, well, it's true! It's so true! I scrambled the Call of Duty code, Ma! I copied sections of it over and over a few times, and I got the sequel. It's better graphics. It's an improvement from the original. Bull shit. Oh, my God. I hope I'm entertaining you, atheists. I mean to be. These videos are purposely made like this to entertain. It gets your attention, don't it? Okay, man. Back to some seriousness, man. Come on, man. That's all it is copying errors within the existing code. Hell, there was a woman born with 2 heads. You can look it up on YouTube. I'm sure most of you atheists and evolutionists know about this. 1 body, 2 heads. And I could go on and on and on through the history of mankind of the horrible. From the horrible to the mid, all the way to the mild. Mutations that many people have been born with and have underwent through mankind's history. All kinds of cases have been reported. They're all on record. Look them up. And guess what? We're still humans. These mutations did not improve anything. Do you think the woman with 2 heads is an improvement? Do you know the ridicule she probably suffers? And the life that she has to go through? It didn't improve a damn thing. Well, they say 2 heads are better than 1, but hey, come on, man. Yeah, at least now she can argue with herself and disagree with herself. Oh, jeez. And after all these mutations, horrible mutations, mild mutations, and semi-horrible mild mutations that man has went through that's on medical records, Not one human has ever given rise to the next step of evolution. We're still humans. Animals have went through mutations. Those are all on records too. And, and every species that's ever had a mutation that's on record, medical record, observable records, where you can go and look at the actual picture, actual observation, not bones of millions of years ago before man. Since man has walked the earth, actual cases on record of animals and humans, you can look at the pictures of it. Not one of these mutations on record has caused any animal, any human, anything living of any kind to produce an entirely different species from itself. Entirely different. No. Talk Origins is a damn joke. Everything they show is microevolution. Lizards are still lizards. Birds are still birds. Flies are still flies. And that's just one. Well, no, that's just several examples. I could go down the entire list if I wanted to make this video hours on end long, which I don't, of all the things Talk Origin has mentioned. And when you cut through the bullshit and get down to the nitty-gritty, the only thing they have ever mentioned as proof of the fact of evolution is nothing but ordinary, natural, microevolution. Just a particular species going through variation. Another variation of the same damn species. When you want to believe something so bad, like Mormons believe the golden plates were here and then God took the plates back up to heaven and all this bull crap. When you want to believe something bad enough, anything will be evidence to you. Anything. Doesn't matter what the hell it is. Because you want it so badly. That's all Talk Origins is. They're a bullshit site. They want to believe it so badly they deceive themselves. They believe their own bullshit. When all of it is microevolution. Send me your absolute best in the comments below. But don't make it many examples. I just want one. I don't want to be flooded here. You're not the only one that comments. I'm getting dozens upon dozens upon dozens of comments a day. And I'm only one person. I cannot answer it if you're going to list a whole bunch of crap. One, as in uno, single. You know what that means? Below in the comments, give one, not two, not five, one of your absolute best proofs that something transformed into an entirely different species that proves macroevolution that was observed. Your one absolute best. Because so far, after reading Talk Origins on all the other sites and hearing what all the evolutionists are saying on YouTube, I have to say, and I'm going to repeat a famous line from Aaron Conman Rawl. I have to say, after listening to all this crap and seeing all your Talk Origins websites and after reading everything Talk Origins has to say as so-called evidence, I have to say, is this the best y'all can do?